Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. City News Everywhere reports that in Ontario Provincial Police, OPP, Officer Coquitlam has been charged with manslaughter by the Special Investigations Unit. The charge stems from a fatal shooting incident in Turkey Point, Norfolk County on August 12, 2025, which resulted in the death of a 22-year-old man. According to the SIU, OPP officers on Lake Erie attempted to stop a personal watercraft operator who then fled into a wooded area on foot. During the subsequent arrest, an officer discharged his firearm, fatally wounding the man. SIE Odrowski was arrested at SIU headquarters, released on an undertaking with conditions, and is scheduled to appear in court in Simcoe on June 2026. The OPP Association has stated its full support for Jared Odrowski and all members involved, emphasizing their cooperation with the investigation and offering legal counsel. A 33-year-old man, Timothy Vansnick, has pleaded guilty to manslaughter in connection with a fatal stabbing that occurred during a bar fight in Coquitlam, BC. Last January, according to the Integrated Homicide Investigation Team, reported by CBC, police responded to the John B. Neighborhood Pub on Austin Avenue just before 9:45 p.m. PT on January 31, 2025. Following reports of an altercation, officers found a 35-year-old man with life-threatening injuries, who subsequently died despite first responders' efforts. His identity has not been released. Vansnick was initially charged with second-degree murder a day after the incident, but pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of manslaughter on Tuesday. He is scheduled to be sentenced in December. Sergeant Freda Fong of expressed that, "Our thoughts are with the victim's family, friends, and those who were impacted by this tragic death." British Columbia Premier David Eby expressed optimism that LNG Canada will reach a final investment decision by the end of the year, a move he described as potentially the largest private sector investment in Canadian history. Speaking in Vancouver, Eby joined Federal Energy Minister Tim Hodgson and LNG Canada President Chris Cooper to highlight a new enhanced cooperation agreement for the company's expansion plans in Coquitlam, BC. Both leaders emphasized the project's significant economic impact, with Minister Hodgson anticipating a celebration of the final decision by year-end. However, environmental groups and physicians have voiced strong opposition, citing concerns about the Coquitlam facility exceeding authorized emissions and exposing residents to health-harming chemicals due to flaring activity. Cooper acknowledged flaring spikes as normal during startup and committed to monitoring emissions. BC Green Party leader Emily Lowen criticized the government's continued focus on LNG expansion as deeply troubling and disconnected from what's best for British Columbia's future. This report comes from City News Everywhere. British Columbia Premier David Eby and Federal Energy Minister Tim Hodgson were in Vancouver on Thursday to announce an enhanced cooperation agreement for LNG Canada's expansion plans in Coquitlam, BC, with a final investment decision expected by the end of 2026. Premier Eby stated that if approved, this project would represent the largest private sector investment in Canadian history, significantly impacting the nation's GDP and the value of the Canadian dollar. LNG Canada President Chris Cooper noted that the decision is contingent on satisfying various internal requirements, including supply chains, labor contractors, government, and First Nations agreements. Federal Minister Hodgson highlighted that BC accounts for 40% of all projects referred to the Federal Major Projects Office, underscoring the province's vast potential. However, the announcement was met with criticism from environmentalists and physicians groups, including the Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment. who raised concerns about LNG Canada's Kitimat facility exceeding authorized emissions and exposing residents to health-harming chemicals from flaring. Cooper acknowledged flaring spikes as a normal part of startup, but assured efforts to reduce it and monitor emissions. BC Green Party leader Emily Lowen condemned the government's focus on LNG expansion, calling it misguided and disconnected from the province's future. This report is from City News Everywhere. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.